Welcome to the Lockdown Economy, a social non-profit initiative by the think tank AlterContacts to help small businesses and self-employed professionals overcome the challenges of the pandemic and reactivate the economy. My name is Karen Rickes, and today our guest is Heather Gates. Heather is the founder of PM Rehab, which is a project management coaching service based in Amsterdam. Hello, Heather. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we're glad that you are back with us because this is actually your second interview with the Lockdown Economy already. For those of our viewers who are new to Lockdown Economy, could you tell us a bit more about your business?
Yes, in 2020, I launched PM Rehab, which is, as you said, it's a project management coaching business where we really have decided to use or to take the training approach for professional development a little bit differently and kind of follow that subscription model so that we can really introduce incremental and recurring improvement in project professionals. So we have a whole bunch of different services that are really structured to improving project management capabilities and the quality of projects for different companies.
That sounds really good. And now I mentioned it, this is your second interview with us already. Could you tell us a bit about how the pandemic has affected your business since we last spoke?
Yes. Well, again, as I mentioned, I started in July of 2020. So it was right when things were getting really, our reality was setting in a lot more. And the thing that I really was affected by was that obviously you have a business plan when you start a business. And I had been working on that for, almost a couple of years leading up to that. So a lot of the research, due diligence that I had done really did not consider the pandemic. All right. How customers are behaving. So for me, I really had to step back. And I really had to revisit and understand what my customers were looking for, what are their spending habits going forward, and really, optimize and change my business plan. I'm still at the same initial focus of the subscription model, but I also had to realize that the buying habits of the customers are different. Their expectations their employees are different, and they're transforming their businesses. So they're still trying to figure out what they need. So I really have to try to understand how I can anticipate those needs using my experience, my corporate experience that I've had, as well as what people are telling me and what I'm witnessing, how people are behaving during this pandemic.
I see. So yeah, as you mentioned, you did sort of start in the pandemic. You did start online, so there was sort of less of a transition necessary there. But of course, also your customers had to actually adapt to the circumstances. Could you tell us a bit more about sort of what you've been witnessing, how the customers have been responding, and how that affected your business?
Yes, well, actually, it's I was initially set up as a B2B type of company, right?
Hmm.
So I really have expanded to go more business to consumers. While I am still B2B, one of the things that I was surprisingly introduced to when I launched my business were the vast number of project management or professionals out there who are really either starting their career in project management and don't have a lot of training, or have gotten thrown into it because their businesses are transforming. And so they're having to take on additional responsibility as part of their jobs. And they're just expected to make it work. And they don't have a lot of the support, experience, or training. So what when I launched, I was really just focusing on businesses, looking at things from a corporate perspective. But when I had taken that step back, I realized that I could provide just as much benefit to consumers who were looking at really practical type of trainings. There's a lot of theoretical, a lot of pure methodology type of training. But one of the things that I really realized were that there was nothing that really kind of facilitated that transition from let's say a sales role, or say from something that might just be maybe event management, or maybe even just, I went as an accountant, and now I have an interest for project management. And I really didn't see anything that kind of filled that gap and really gave people the confidence that they already have a lot of the foundational skills and understanding. They just don't really have a lot of the terminology or the right just kind of understanding of some of the practices that support project management. So I really spent the last probably about 4.5 months really putting together much more focused services. And that kind of evolved into a masterclass that I will be launching actually today. And it's 2.5, less than 2 hours of really practical kind of learnings, experiences, really trying to hone on how people are already prepared. They already have a lot more skills and capabilities than they give themselves credit for. And it's just a different way of thinking or approaching people or processes or technology in the terms of project management. And I'm really kind of proud of the work that I put into this, because I remember when I started my career, I wasn't given that kind of, we used to call them back in the day, Cliff Notes. They were these little, kind of cheat sheets of what a book was or what a certain process was. And so I kind of wanted to do that from a project management standpoint. And so that's what I have with my masterclass. It's called Getting Started, the Fundamentals of Project Management. And we're already, we'll be launching the site today to get people to really start signing up for it.
That's great. That's really good to hear. So building that masterclass all around this idea that, yes, as you said, the, let's say, resources, the skills, they are already there, but it's about sort of really seizing them, exploiting them to move forward. That's really, really interesting. You also mentioned that as part of your sort of transition or adapting your plan through this crisis, so you did not only move to maybe more of a consumer focus, but also that marketing aspect of the business. You mentioned that initially you paid little attention to the marketing. Could you tell us a bit more about how you maybe intensified your marketing efforts?
Yes. So as I mentioned in my last interview, like you mentioned, it was very, again, you don't know what you don't know until you get thrown into it. And my team has been amazing at being able to get me out of my comfort zones and really be able to figure out how I need to communicate and get my message across. There are a lot of people out there in the world on social media that are coaches, similar to me, a little bit different, but we all kind of are going towards the same goal. So one of the things that I started doing more is I started reaching out to a lot of other different collaborators and started kind of building up that network, because we all have a lot of different specialties in how we're getting to that goal. And that's the one thing I find really, really fascinating about it. There's other aspects that, and with the marketing, that I started kind of stop restricting myself, let's just say. I've never really thought that you could be creative in project management, but I realize that you can. And again, my kind of approach is to make things really practical, really relatable, and really tangible to people. So as part of one of the series, again, in my really focus on the consumers and trying to give them different inspiration, different use cases that they might have experienced in another profession, but how that also translate to project management. So I started putting these a lot in my content. And I've also will be launching in a couple of weeks is my web series called Project Days. And it's really, you just have to sign up for my series called 11 Skills that require no training for effective leadership and project management, right? And what we do here is we have these 11 skills that we built all these different corporate project management scenarios around, and you really can understand the different characters. They're all different stakeholders who are impacted by a project, and we go through different skills on how they are really relevant in the corporate world. And showing those different perspectives, I'm really hoping that people can see themselves or their roles in these different characters that I happen to portray. And again, it gives me an opportunity to be creative and also to be informative to people and not be so serious all the time, right? So those are the other ways that I've really started stepping out of my comfort zone. I was never one to be in front of the camera a lot. I was never one to really create stories with my projects. And I realized that there is a market for that. People are interested in that, and people already realize that, hey, you know, if Heather can make those same mistakes and she's been successful, why not myself, right? And it just kind of breaks down some of those walls. So that's really what I've just been trying to do, is really consistently put out different inspirational content, really focus on things that are giving people just different perspectives of how to use what they're good at, and then obviously identify what they're not good at and figure out how they can bridge that gap. So and marketing has really given me a platform with PM Rehab to be able to do that.
Yeah, that sounds great. So in a sense, building that more inclusive marketing content that people can relate to and sort of want them to engage more with PM Rehab in particular. You also said that in developing that content, you benefit a lot from sort of different insights, different industries, and networking with other coaches. Could you tell us a bit more about your networking efforts? Who did you collaborate with?
Yes, so I've been, so there's different coaches in different ways. So we have Twanay Rumble. She is part of Women Linked. She is running that platform, and she brings different entrepreneurs together women entrepreneurs, let's say that. And she's definitely one to be able to help people network, inspire on her platform, and be able to really bring people together that do different things, that may not be able to necessarily hire their own talent, but may be looking for partnerships. So I've been really working with her. There's other amazing coaches and PMs out there. You have Asia Watkins. She's from Women of PM. We've been talking about collaborating a little bit more in 2021. She's been around for a long time, and she's really got a good a platform. She has a membership that she does annual or monthly memberships, bringing PMs together, giving them exposure to different learning. She's got an amazing social media profile. So definitely go check her out. She's Women of PM, Asia Watkins. And there's again, I could probably go on naming a lot of different coaches out there, but there are so many, again, depending on what's your style, what is of interest to you. Some people are very, very, specific to project management practices, giving you really kind of fundamental, hey, use this template for this, or this is kind of, this is the way that you would handle this type of situation in a project. You have other people that are more like me, that are much more, going to give you more relatable and try to kind of break down where, okay, yeah, that might be one way to get it done, but there also are many other ways to be successful, and we can all learn from each other. So I really am one for taking a lot of, hey, how did you do that? And then saying, oh, I didn't think about doing it that way, because again, there's always more than one way to be successful. So that's really what I'm trying to do, was continue to build that platform for PM Rehab that also extends to other people's communities, because my approach may not be what someone else needs, but I want to be able to put them in touch with someone else who I know they might have a better connection with. And again, that's just us, kind of all working together in order to get to the same goal.
I see, perfect. So creating that network, not only for your own benefits or the benefit of the other entrepreneurs, but also for the customers, so they can really benefit from shared insights. I
Absolutely.
see. And you also mentioned now that you have a lot of cool, exciting projects that you're about to launch today or in the next weeks or months.
Mm-hmm.
In light of that, what is sort of your outlook on the future? How are you sort of hoping that the situation will evolve?
Well, yes, I'm definitely continuing. I always keep saying, as far as not to get ahead of myself, you have to stay with some perspective, take things one day at a time. I want to build a sustainable business that really helps me. The reason I started my business was because I wanted to do something different. I wanted to use my experience to create opportunities for people. And in order to do that, you have to have a sustainable business. So I really focused a lot on the foundation of my business, my processes, making sure I have the culture, the working culture for my employees. That to me is very, very important. I really am one of those, probably sometimes I get told I'm a little bit too empathetic or too compassionate, but I also think that I'm also able to realize when it's not to my advantage. So those are the things, again, that I want to keep at the core of my business, because I think my message and how I'm approaching it is, again, it's really to help kind of companies kind of mitigate risks that they've had to their businesses that they haven't been able to foresee before. And in my career, managing projects is something that is really necessary and critical to all aspects of businesses. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. You could be in construction, you can be in finance, you can be in education, you can be in healthcare. There is a project. Anything that you are trying to introduce new into something, or you have to change, is a project. So it might not be you're a project manager by title or, or by training, but you are managing events, for example. You might be building up a building. All of these are different projects. And for me, it's just really inspiring for me to help kind of give people different perspectives and take a little bit of the rigidness, because project management does have a lot of processes, methodologies, frameworks, all those lovely, consulting type terms and organizational corporate terms, but it's also a very human and people driven function, right? And you cannot do these things without people. And that's the part that I really want to make sure that people know. When you're working with me, we're going to make sure that we, mitigate risk to your projects. We're going to make sure that your customer's happy, but we're also going to make sure the people that are doing the work are also being fulfilled and are being challenged and are in the right roles for what they want to be doing. And that is the really the key of making this all work and it to be sustainable. So that's my goal. And I'm just taking it one day at a time. And continuing to focus on my consumers as well as the businesses that I am partnering with, because again, I think both factors have to be taken into consideration so you can really make sure that you can have that people focused, right? Because we all need the people to get things done.
That's very true. So in the end, it's about creating that realization within your customers, within everyone, I guess, that there's a little project manager inside all of us, but that we maybe need a little help to sort of, as you said, to move beyond the technicalities of project management and really understand, the value, the importance of people in managing all that. So thank you for sharing that. As a last question for today, what are some things, 3 things you could use help with yourself in the next couple of months?
Oh, good questions. Well, the very first thing I am in the process of doing is I'm raising capital. I am trying to grow my team, and again, you need to have capital to do that. So I'm in that process. So I'm really working on my pitch deck, and in the coming weeks, I'm going to start, pursuing some investors and hoping that I can make that happen. So that's number one. Help with securing investment. Number 2 is continue with brand awareness, and I'm tackling that a little bit. Be introducing a new internal project, which is, the whole search engine optimization and becoming that level of authority. That was again what you don't know, you don't know. So I've really started working with a former, a former colleague of mine who started his own SEO business. And so he's really going to help me really kind of get that brand awareness. I have a lot of the content. I have a lot of the information out there, but I just don't have it optimized, right? So that people can really find PM Rehab. And so all of that marketing and those messages that I've been putting out there, I need to make sure that they are getting out to the audience. And I have to do some fine tuning of my website and my marketing materials to do that. And I think the last thing that I could use some help with, and it's not like it's something that's that easy, but I've realized with the marketing that I've taken on, an undervalued skill is copywriting. And copywriting for your marketing materials, for social media, all of these aspects. It's not that you just need a good copywriter, you need a copywriter that knows your subject matter. And that's something that I have definitely taken totally for granted. I will be looking for additional help in that area. I've had to take on a lot of that responsibility myself because I used to do technical writing, but I can't do everything. And so that's really the last thing, is really finding someone that understands project management, can think outside the box, and is an exceptional technical writer or copywriter.
All right. Thank you for that. Let's make sure that your message gets out there. Thank you to everyone who joined us here today. Heather, do you have any last words to our viewers?
No, yes, I do have a last message. Please go visit our website, pm-rehab.com. We have launched our Masterclass today, and it's really an amazing course for those that are interested in project management or looking to change their career to project management, and really looking for, getting their feet wet with understanding all of the concepts and principles that lie therein. We charge 99 euros, but we're running a sale right now for the rest of March. So just go to the website, pm-rehab.com, and sign up today.
Sounds great. Thank you, Heather. Please find any and all links to contact Heather in the description of this video below. I invite you to like this video and subscribe to our channel. On our channel, you can find many more insights from many different entrepreneurs in different countries and business sectors. So please have a look and stay tuned.